Hi, my name's Mary Dowell. And this is my testimony. So I don't have a super dramatic story of how God's worked through my life, but I still have a story like everybody, and this is it. I've had the blessing of growing up in a Christian home with parents who are two of my most trusted spiritual mentors. I honestly don't remember the exact age I accepted Christ. It was probably around 6 or 7. From the get-go, I've been a big questioner. And I kept doubting that my Christianity was authentic, that I had truly asked Jesus into my heart the first time. So I would do it again and again and again. Summer going into 9th grade, I went off to Camp Willow Run, which is a Christian camp on Lake Gaston, North Carolina. Life had been going pretty well. We'd moved here the summer before, or moved into Richmond, Chesterfield County the summer before. For the first time, I felt like I had a church I could plug into and friends I could really connect with. Yet the nagging doubt of my own salvation still hadn't fully left. At one point during the week at camp, we were supposed to find a verse and write it down on a note card. You know, you're not really supposed to flip randomly through the Bible and see what comes up, but that's what I did, and James 1:16 is what I found, which says, "He who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind." That struck me. I was so sick and tired of just being unsure and being uncertain. I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to feel and be grounded in Jesus. We were also singing a song that week, and part of the lyrics said to cast your burdens up on Jesus. He cares for you. So I did that. I surrendered my doubt up to Jesus, up to him. Even after that experience, however, doubt has continued to follow me in my walk with God. Not that I doubt his existence or salvation like I did when I was little, but more that I doubt God's goodness. I think part of what has grown me as a Christian is my questioning nature. For questions like, why does God let evil exist? Or why do certain passages of the Bible seem to contradict God's goodness? Why does he harden some people's hearts and not others? My mom challenged me to search for answers. Letting the questions hang invited confusion and uncertainty into my faith and was causing my faith to stagnate. And I would challenge you too, don't be afraid to look for answers. The journey itself has grounded my faith so much more firmly. Looking back on my life, I can see other patterns of doubt that have shaped my actions. So, for example, in high school, I began to doubt that God could or would provide a godly Christian guy. So I let myself get sucked into the first time a guy I was really attracted to pursued me. This is weird, I'm looking at myself. Okay, sorry. My argument then was that I was friending a non-Christian guy, and through this friendship I could have an impact for Christ. The truth was that I was attracted to this guy, and I knew this friendship was really moving towards relationship. Then the guy started to ask hard questions, wondering what made me stick so closely to my morals, and I began to question myself as well. There have been many moments where I've wondered if God has ever actually spoken to me. What does that look like? I usually don't even realize that I am or was hearing God's voice until I look back and see a big picture view of how God worked through the situation. So with the scenario of my high school crush, I could so easily have compromised my morals. But God spoke to me instead through my youth pastor as I approached him with the questions this guy was asking me. He gave me a few really good biblical passages that backed up that gave me the reason for why I do what I do as a Christian. But he also told me that I needed to let this guy know we were only friends, and I agreed. I knew it was the right thing. But emotionally I struggled with that decision the entire year. So how's that part of my testimony? It shows God speaking into my life through someone else, in this instance, my youth pastor. And I can look back now and see that God had my best interest at heart the whole time, even though it didn't feel so good when that happened. So recently I've also had the strong conviction, and I really do believe that convictions are God smiting my heart. That's a big word, that I don't extend God's love enough through words. I know there's a phrase, actions speak louder than words, but I can get so caught up in comfortably witnessing through just being myself and letting my actions demonstrate my Christianity. My closest non-Christian friend's mom discovered her cancer May of my senior year of high school and died in August. The pain I felt was partly because I love that friend so much and grieved with her, but also because I realized that in all the time I knew her, I had never actually shared the gospel story. That was really hard. So I believe God speaks into our lives through our desires and the longings he places on our hearts. My aching is to share the gospel more freely. Mark 16:15 says, "Go into all the world and preach the good news to all creation." Last summer I had the opportunity to spend 8 weeks in Los Angeles doing inner city and cross-cultural ministry. My hope was that the experience would embolden me to share God's love and story wherever I am. The realization I've come to is that I'm always going to have to come to God for courage and boldness, and that's okay as long as I do come to God. I can't imagine facing difficulties or hard situations or struggles without the assurance and strength of God. I want others to have that assurance too. So that's my testimony. Thanks for listening, guys.